Hush, streets breathe, lights blur. Night rain, steady on the glass. 2 steps, don't let the shadows pass. New name folded like a note. Keep low, keep the heartbeat close. Eyes down, vanish in the swirl. Who will call your name? The other Lotus Girl, blooming in a world of steel and pearl. The other Lotus Girl, say my name and watch the night unfurl. The other Lotus Girl, I'm the echo you can't drown, the quiet in the world. The other Lotus Girl, Lotus, rise slow, Lotus, don't let go. Red to green but I don't move, signal waits for a different truth. If a legend keep me near, if you hear me pull me clear. The other Lotus Girl, blooming where the dark unfurls. The other Lotus Girl, find me, find me, find me. Lotus, Lotus, Lotus.
Episode 1. The Passenger. Stuart had barely stepped to the door when Martin was waiting, a hopeful look on his face. Stuart smirked.
What is it? I've just got in from work. Fun can wait until later.
He kissed him in passing and headed into the kitchen. They'd been married 3 months, together for 2 years, and were still settling into Stuart's neat, modern 2-bedroom terrace on the edge of Guildford. It suited his sleek style, less so Martin's. Martin trod after him, hesitant.
It's Mum. She's coming for dinner.
Stuart froze.
Your mum? Here? Tonight?
Martin gave a sheepish nod.
Sorry.
She wasn't unkind, but she was old-fashioned. She still clung to the hope that her son might one day marry a nice girl and give her grandchildren. Stuart sighed.
Why?
Dad had another fall. He's back in the hospital. He'll be fine, but you know how Mum hates eating alone.
Stuart's irritation softened.
Ah, I see. Sorry, I hope he's okay.
He paused for a moment.
So, you want me to get some Earl Grey? I know she won't drink anything else.
Martin's face brightened.
Thank you. I knew you'd understand.
Stuart hugged him quickly, then headed out. Driving into Guildford's Thursday rush hour on a mission for posh tea was not how he'd hoped to spend his evening. But he knew how hard it was for Martin to see his parents age so quickly in front of him.
Fancy tea?
He muttered, with a sly laugh at the lights.
For a woman who's never satisfied.
He tapped the wheel in time with the radio, half smiling.
Tea and maybe flowers. Harder for her to scowl at me then.
The traffic crawled forward, red light after red light, each one stretching longer than the last. Stuart drummed his fingers against the steering wheel, watching pedestrians move faster than his car. A group of teenagers laughed as they crossed in front of him, their whole lives ahead of them, no idea how complicated anything would become. He was thinking about what flowers might soften Mrs. Patterson's perpetual disapproval when the passenger door suddenly flew open. A young woman threw herself inside, slamming it shut. Small, Asian, no older than 20, her face was blotched with tears and exhaustion. But it was her eyes that stopped Stuart cold. They were wide with the kind of terror that came from something far worse than ordinary fear.
Please.
She gasped, her accent thick, her words fractured by panic.
Help me. Bad men are coming.
Stuart's mouth opened, but no sound came out.
This wasn't happening,
he said to himself. Things like this didn't happen to people like him, especially not in places like Guildford on ordinary Thursday evenings.
Drive.
She hissed, curling low in the seat, like a wounded animal.
Please. Now.
In the mirror, he saw them. 2 men sprinting towards the car, faces twisted with rage and something darker. Not just angry, predatory. The bald one in front, moving with the fluid efficiency of someone used to catching people who ran. The lights were still red. He was at the front of the queue, boxed in by the car on one side and pedestrians walking the pavement on the other. She looked at him, eyes wide, lips shaped to desperate please, as tears carved tracks through her smudged makeup on her face. In that moment, Stuart saw something that made his chest tighten. It wasn't just fear, but the terrible resignation of someone who'd learned not to expect help. Stuart's hands slipped on the wheels, slick with sudden sweat. His heart hammered against his ribs. The rational part of his mind screamed at him to tell him to get out, to call the police, to not get involved in whatever this was. The bold man was 10 feet away now, his hand reaching for the door handle. Stuart stamped on the accelerator. Tyres screamed against tarmac. Horns erupted as he shot across the junction, swerving through oncoming traffic. A white van missed his bumper by inches, the driver's face a mask of shock and fury behind the windscreen.
What the hell am I doing?
He shouted over the chaos, his pulse roaring louder than the radio. But he kept driving, taking the first left, then a right, putting distance between them and whatever those men represented. His hands shook so badly he could barely grip the wheel. After several minutes of random turns through residential streets, Stuart finally pulled onto a quiet road lined with Victorian terraces and switched off the engine. The sudden silence felt deafening. His hands were still trembling as he turned to face the girl properly.
Right.
He said, trying to sound calmer than he felt.
What the hell is going on? Who were those men?
She pressed herself against the passenger door, studying him with dark eyes that seemed to weigh every word before she spoke. There was something ancient in that gaze, like she'd seen too much for someone so young.
Bad men.
She said simply.
They want me back.
Back from what? Where do you live? Should we call the police?
Her reaction was immediate, a sharp shake of her head, panic flashing across her face like she'd been slapped.
No police. Please, no.
Stuart raised an eyebrow.
Why not, if someone's threatening you?
Police not help people like me.
Her accent was thick, but her meanings were crystal clear.
They sent me back to the bad men.
Stuart frowned. What she was saying made little sense. In his world, police were the good guys. You called them when you needed help.
What do you mean, people like you? Are you here illegally?
She nodded quickly, shame flickering across her features.
I have no papers. Police, they not understand. They think I choose this.
Choose what?
The girl looked down at her hands, and Stuart noticed the bruises circling her wrists like dark bracelets. His stomach lurched.
They tell me I work in nail bar. Pay back money my family owe. But when I get here...
She trailed off, then looked at him with eyes that held too much knowledge.
Not just nail bar. Different work. Bad work as well.
Stuart's stomach dropped like a stone.
What kind of work?
She met his eyes then, and he saw something that made his chest tighten with a pain he couldn't name. Not just fear, but resignation, like she'd learned not to expect help from anyone.
Men pay money. I have to.
She gestured vaguely, unable or unwilling to say it outright.
Jesus Christ.
Stuart ran his hands through his hair, his comfortable world tilting sideways.
You mean they're forcing you to... with other men?
She gave a quick nod, fresh tears streaming down her face.
I run away tonight.
She said, her voice barely above a whisper.
From client. He wanted to do things. Bad things. I fight him. I run.
Stuart stared at her, his mind struggling to process what he was hearing. This was trafficking. Actual human trafficking, happening in Surrey, happening to this girl sitting in his car who looked barely older than his niece. The kind of thing you would read about in the newspaper and thought happened somewhere else to other people.
Your family.
He said slowly, dreading the answer.
Do they know what's really happening?
Something flickered across her face. Pain, maybe anger, maybe both.
Family sell me to pay debt. They know.
The words hit him like a physical blow.
They sold you.
Father owes Batman money. Gambling. They say I work abroad in nail bar. Send money home. Everyone happy.
Her voice was flat, matter of fact, like she was reciting someone else's story.
But father knows. He just not care about me.
Stuart felt sick, actually physically sick. The casual way she said it, like betrayal was just another fact of life.
Fucking hell. Where can you go?
He asked.
Friends? Other family in the UK?
She shook her head.
No one. If I go back Vietnam, they kill me for running. No one here help people like me.
Stuart looked at this girl, this kid, who'd been betrayed by everyone who should have protected her, sold by her own family, trapped by men who saw her as nothing more than a commodity. He thought of his own father, the man who'd beaten him when he found out he was gay, who'd called him disgusting and thrown him out of the house. He thought of Martin, the first person to show him that love could be gentle, that family could be chosen.
Yeah.
He heard himself say, the words coming from somewhere deeper than conscious thought.
Yeah, I'll help you.
The relief that flooded her face was almost too much to bear.
Shit. The tea.
He looked at the girl, reality crashing back in.
I'm supposed to be getting tea and flowers for my mother-in-law.
He shook his head, laughing despite himself.
Well, I don't have to get the flowers. That was my idea. But that's not the point.
She frowned at him, as if he was speaking a foreign language.
Look, I know how it sounds,
Stuart said.
but if I don't go home with something, there'll be questions. And right now, I don't have any answers.
He paused, looking at her properly.
But if I go back with you...
He shook the thought away, managing a smile.
Don't worry, I'll think of something. For now, we get the tea.
He started the engine again.
Waitrose is just 5 minutes away. Then we figure out what to do.
The car park was busy with the usual Thursday evening crowd. Families were doing weekly shops, couples grabbing dinner ingredients, the comfortable middle-class bustling of suburban life. Stuart found a space near the entrance and turned to the girl.
Stay here. Keep your head down. I'll be as quick as I can.
She shook her head, panic flooding back into her eyes.
No, please. Me come too. Batman might find me.
He looked at her, ready to reassure her that she'd be safe, but the panic in her eyes was like nothing he'd seen before. Raw, primal terror that spoke experiences he couldn't begin to imagine.
Okay, come with me then.
They headed inside together. She clung to his sleeve as he grabbed the basket, her eyes darting constantly around the store, like she expected danger to emerge from behind every display. Stuart moved through the aisles on autopilot. Earl Grey from the tea section, flowers from the little florist area near the entrance. His hands had stopped shaking, but his mind was racing. What was he going to tell Martin? How do you explain that you've just become involved in human trafficking? That you've picked up a girl being chased by what were probably very dangerous men? The girl followed him silently, staying close enough that he could feel her tremble. She flinched every time someone walked past, every time a voice was raised in the distance. Watching her, Stuart felt a rage build in his chest. What had they done to her to make her this afraid? He paid quickly, eager to get them both out of the bright, exposed space of the store. But as he walked back towards the car, the girl suddenly grabbed his arm, her fingernails digging into his skin through his shirt.
No.
She whispered, her face white with terror.
Batman, that car. They find us.
Stuart looked where she was pointing and felt his blood turn to ice. A black BMW was pulling out of a parking space 3 rows behind them. 2 men in the front seats, the passenger pointing directly at them.
The black BMW?
He asked, though he already knew the answer.
Drive!
She screamed, pressing herself against him in panic.
Yes, that car! Drive now!
Stuart's mind raced. The BMW was already moving towards them, cutting through the car park with purpose.
How did they... Fuck.
Drive!
He fumbled with his keys, hands shaking again as the BMW slowly moved in their direction. But as he reached the ignition, something made him stop.
What are you doing? We must go!
The girl was almost hyperventilating now, her eyes fixed on the approaching car. But Stuart shook his head, a plan forming.
No, that's what they want us to do. Panic, run somewhere they can corner us.
He turned the car around, driving towards the exit, before returning to the same parking spot near the entrance.
We're going back into Waitrose. They won't follow us in. Too public. Too many witnesses.
The girl shook her head frantically, tears streaming down her face.
No, you don't know them. They follow us. They don't care about people watching.
Stuart turned to face her, taking her hands in his. They were ice cold and shaking.
Look at me.
He said firmly.
You don't know me, and I know how terrifying this is. But you have to trust me. This is the right thing to do. They're predators, but they're also businessmen. They won't risk exposure in a crowded supermarket.
She searched his face for a long moment, then nodded reluctantly. They got out of the car, Stuart grabbing the tea and flowers. The girl immediately held onto his arm like a lifeline. Stuart walked them back into Waitrose with as much confidence as he could muster, though his heart was hammering against his ribs. At the customer service desk, he approached the same woman who'd served him minutes earlier. She looked up with a slightly wary smile.
Sorry to bother you,
he said, injecting just the right amount of frustration to his voice.
I hate to ask, but I have a slight problem. My car's broken down.
He pointed through the window towards the vehicle.
The silver Audi there. The engine just died on me.
The woman followed his gaze sympathetically.
Oh no, that's awful. On a Thursday evening too.
I know, terrible timing. Unfortunately, I can't get anyone out to look at it until tomorrow. Would it be okay if I left it here overnight? I know it's not ideal.
That should be fine.
She said kindly.
Let me just take a note of the registration.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You're a lifesaver.
Stuart turned to the girl, raising his voice slightly.
Right then. Looks like we're getting a taxi home.
As they walked away from the desk, the girl whispered.
Car not broken.
No,
Stuart said quietly.
but they don't know that. And now we disappear.
He guided them towards the back of the store, where a secondary entrance led out onto a side street. He slowly walked to the side of the building, peeking round. He could see the black BMW still waiting there, the occupant's eyes locked on the entrance.
Where we go now?
The girl whispered from behind him, holding on like he was her lifeline.
Coffee shop on North Street. We'll call a taxi from there. They won't think we went out the back and left my car.
They walked quickly through the narrow streets, the girl still clinging to his arm. Stuart found himself scanning every car, every shadow, seeing potential threats everywhere. How did she live like this? How did anyone survive this level of constant fear? The coffee shop on North Street was busy enough to blend in, but not so crowded they couldn't find a corner table. Stuart guided the girl to a spot near the back, away from the windows, and pulled out his phone.
I'll get us some coffee,
He said.
and call a taxi.
He ordered 2 lattes and opened up the Uber app, booking the car. It was 20 minutes away, long enough to drink their coffees, not so long that the girl would start to panic. Well, that's what he hoped.
It'll be 20 minutes.
He said, returning with the drinks and several packets of sugar.
I didn't know how you take it.
She wrapped her hands around the mug like it was a lifeline, breathing in the steam. The simple act of holding something warm seemed to calm her slightly.
Thank you.
She said quietly. Stuart settled into his chair and realised something fundamental.
You know what? I don't even know your name.
She looked up hesitant.
Van.
Van.
He repeated, completely butchering the pronunciation. She almost smiled.
Van, not Van.
She corrected gently, the tone subtle but distinct.
Ah, Van.
He tried again, getting closer.
I'm Stuart.
He held out his hand. She shook it softly, her grip still trembling.
Stuart. Good name.
They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, both processing what had just happened. Stuart found himself studying her face. She was so young, but with lines of exhaustion and stress that spoke experiences no one her age should have endured.
Are you hurt?
He asked quietly.
From tonight, I mean. From the client.
Von's jaw tightened, her free hand unconsciously moving to her ribs.
I fight. I get away. But
She touched her wrists, where the bruises were darkest.
I don't want to talk about it. Sorry.
Stuart felt that familiar surge of protective anger.
Don't be sorry. You talk about it when you're ready. If you're ever ready.
She looked at him curiously.
Why you help me? You not know me. Could be dangerous for you.
Stuart considered the question. Why was he doing this? It would have been easier to tell her to get out of his car, to call the police, to go home to Martin, his mother-in-law, and pretend none of this had happened.
Because no one should have to go through what you're going through.
He said finally.
And because...
He paused, thinking of his father's fists, of Martin's family still hoping he'd come to his senses, of all the times he'd felt alone and afraid.
Because I know what it's like when the people who should protect you don't.
Von studied his face with those two old eyes.
Your family hurt you too?
Different kind of hurt. But yeah.
She nodded slowly, understanding passing between them without needs for detail.
Where we go now?
She asked.
In taxi?
Stuart ran his hands through his hair, the full weight of what he'd committed to finally hitting him.
My house. It's the only safe place I can think of right now.
Her eyes widened with fresh panic.
Your house? Who will be there?
Martin, my husband.
Stuart managed with a wry smile.
Oh, and possibly his mother if she's arrived yet for dinner.
She relaxed slightly on the word husband.
He good man? He will be angry?
Stuart thought about Martin's reaction to find a trafficked girl in their living room.
Not angry, I don't think. Shocked, definitely. Confused as hell. But Martin...
He smiled properly for the first time since this began.
He's good. He'll understand.
Von looked down at the coffee.
I bring danger to your house. To your husband.
You're not bringing anything.
Stuart said firmly.
This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault, Van. You understand that, right?
Tears welled up in her eyes.
My father say I bring shame. Say I must fix family problem.
Your father's a coward and a bastard.
Stuart said bluntly.
You're brave. Running away tonight. Fighting back. That took real courage.
A taxi pulled up outside, and Stuart saw the driver checking his phone.
That's us.
He said, standing.
Ready?
Von drained her coffee and nodded, though you could see her fear creeping back into her eyes.
Ready.
As they walked towards the door, she caught his sleeve one more time.
Stuart, thank you for coffee, for believing me, for
She gestured helplessly.
seeing me as person.
Stuart felt something break open in his chest.
Don't thank me yet.
He said, trying to keep his voice light.
We've still got Martin's mother to face. I'm not sure Earl Grey and flowers will be enough to explain this one.
But as they climbed into the taxi, Stuart realised something had fundamentally shifted. An hour ago, his biggest worry had been impressing his mother-in-law. Now he was harbouring a trafficking victim and potentially putting himself and Martin in danger. And somehow, despite the fear and uncertainty, it felt like the most important thing he'd ever done. The taxi pulled away into the Guildford evening, carrying them towards whatever came next.
Hush, streets breathe.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please like the episode. New chapters are on the way. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next instalment. Want more? Read Janus Origin, Threads of Control. The Other Lotus Girl stands alone, but ties into the Janus Origin Universe. The threads connect toward the end. Thanks again for listening.
Call your name, the other Lotus Girl, blooming in a world of steel and pearl. The other Lotus Girl, say my name and watch the night unfurl. The other Lotus Girl, I'm the echo you can't drown, the quiet in the world. The other Lotus Girl, Lotus, rise slow, Lotus, don't let go. Red to green, but I don't move. Signal waits for a different truth. If we're ledge, I'm keeping here. If you hear me, pull me clear. The other Lotus Girl, blooming where the dark unfurls. The other